I don't know, I never really wanted to get tattooed when I was younger, but I came across an old elementary school friend who had a tattoo when I was like 18, and it was the first like good tattoo I saw. This was like in '97. I don't know. It was like some script or something that he had, and I just never had seen like a good tattoo before, and like I was just kind of amazed. So I asked him who he got tattooed by, where'd he get it. So I went to the same place where I ended up starting or apprenticing to tattoo. I got tattooed, and then from there I just kind of took a lot of interest in it with every tattoo I got, I guess. The top 5 most influential tattoo artists for me, I'd have to say Bob Roberts, Ed Hardy, Philip Liu, Chris Kahn, George Campisi, Mike Rubendahl, Chris O'Donnell. Was that more than 5? I think that was more. But I just remember, like, I think this must have been before I started tattooing. There was like, I remember a Juxtapose magazine that had Rubendahl and Chris O'Donnell in it that I came across, which was like really just inspiring for me. Like the article that I read and seeing their work in that, like I had never seen it before. So I remember that was really something like I always like looked at and like wondered about, and definitely to this day I still haven't been tattooed by Mike or Chris, but maybe someday soon. And as far as Philip Liu goes, I remember the first time I got my hands on a tattoo artist magazine, which I think was like issue 6 or something. I forgot what issue it was that he was in, but that was like a big deal. First time seeing Philip Liu's work, was blown away. Also, before I started tattooing, and I was just getting tattooed at Incognito, just from talking to John and stuff, I guess it was where Henry was working at the time, which was Everlasting Tattoo. I guess viewing the work that was coming out of there was really, really inspiring for me. Like, definitely fell in love with Mike Davis's work, his tattoos, his paintings. George Campisi became like a huge influence for me, which later I got tattooed by both those guys, and even got to work with George at his shop, Warhorse Tattoo, guest spotting there. Bob Roberts, also the same thing. It was, I think there was like some articles in the Juxtapose magazine that I had also come across that really inspired me. My mom, she was an art teacher for a little while, and then my dad, he was more into like typography and lettering. So yeah, I think I got more of like, I mean, I guess together like different inspiration from my mom and my dad, I guess, or different approaches to art in general, I guess. Later, I went to an arts high school, and that's where I actually started taking art classes and stuff like that, which definitely changed. Definitely helped me develop my art background even more. Inspiration-wise, so I always pull from old traditional and Japanese styles. So I guess my inspiration for both is like, seeing how like, just in general, like Ed Hardy, Sailor Jerry, Mike Malone, those guys, how they drew for tattoos and their designs. And then Japanese-wise, I guess I always look back at like old woodblock prints, hokusai, especially. So yeah. Rotary or coil? Definitely, as far as my outlines, coil machines, and I like to shade with the rotary. Right now I've been using this Dan Kubin one, and I also have rotary built by Rich Cahill. Top 3 NV groupings. 11 round shader, 7 traditional liner, and 13 mag. They're just super consistent. I've never had a problem with consistency, and I've never had a problem with like damaged needles or elf boots, as we call them.
I think that a lot of tattooers tend to take for granted the job a lot of times. You know, I've seen it over the years. It's like tattooers that get comfortable and they kind of turn this really amazing artistry job into a cubicle job where they're like punching in and clocking out, you know. And when I look at the way Nate approaches tattooing, which I think is so, is such a huge part of why he's so good at what he does, is the homework that he puts into everything. You know, it's not like he just shows up and does whatever. I mean, there's been so many times where I've texted him and I'm like, what are you up to? And he's just like, I'm fucking drawing, you know? I'm working on what I'm gonna do for my tattoo appointments tomorrow. And I think that that form of dedication and, you know, willingness to put in that work is something that really shows in, I think, the quality of a good tattooer's work. I remember the first time I looked at Nate's portfolio, you know, he had just, you know, freshly finished his apprenticeship, so it wasn't like, you know, a ton of, like, a big body of work, but I could see the aesthetic and the, you know, the, I guess, the hunger to want to get better and to become better, and that's what really struck a chord with me.
I first met Kat in 2007, 2006. She was coming by and guest spotting at Incognito Tattoos, where I first met her when I was still there.
Like, to me, I think when I look at, like, my team, it's kind of like the Power Rangers, you know. There's always, like, there's one person that's a master of something, and then together we're, like, unstoppable, you know. So Nate is definitely such a crucial link to our team because, you know, what he does and what his style is so unique to everyone else who works here. So, you know, that's something that I value a lot. I love Nate's tattoo aesthetic. It's something that he does that no one else at the shop does, and, you know, he's able to take anything, any form of design, and really create it and to make it his own. And obviously, as far as skill goes, like, the line work is immaculate, and, you know, the color's amazing. So yeah, I think when I think about Nate and his contribution to the shop, I mean, I couldn't see High Voltage without him.
So yeah, this is my drawing studio / private studio sometimes. All my Chris Kahn prints and different prints on the wall. Pretty cool stuff. I got these cool decks. This one's my favorite probably, this grime deck right here. Super rad graphic. Matches my hand tattoo. Yeah, anything vegan is my favorite. So it's actually just been a year now. First got into it was my mom was going through ovarian cancer and then lymphatic cancer, like through a 5-year period, I guess. And so during this time I was like researching a lot about like holistic health and healthy diet in general and stuff like that, and I was actually kind of just researching it for her as well. Like, I would mention some stuff to her while doing it myself, but I kind of like, it took me a while before it actually like really set in for me to do it like fully. You know, I guess I just like, I came infatuated with researching it, I guess, like, and then once I like, you know, this light bulb went off in my head. I read a really good book called How Not to Die. That book, on top of what I already knew, like literally just changed my whole perception, and I just went went vegan. Yep. And, you know, also just for my own health, like, man, just a year that I've been vegan now, like, I've noticed a huge difference in, like, my mind and body, like, functioning, like, way better than ever before. I could see it in my skateboarding, which I do almost daily. Like, I don't even have to stretch when I go skate now. Like, before I was getting cramps and like soreness and muscle pain and shit, you know, like, I was like, oh, maybe I'm just getting too fucking old to do this anymore. I'll be 38 this year. As soon as I went vegan, started eating healthier, all went away, dude. Like, I even like started progressing better at my skating. Skateboarding in general has taught me tons of patience and humbleness and like letting go of ego, and I look at it as an art form, and you know, like, obviously too, like, I've always been, I guess, an artist of some sort, drawing and painting, you know, both my parents are artists, and so when I picked up skateboarding and throughout all these years, it's meant a huge deal for me in those aspects of progressiveness, letting go of ego, patience, humbleness. All those are important things as far as, like, I guess I apply them to just my life in general, and especially to tattooing.
You know, I could tell that Nate was somebody who was extremely passionate about tattooing. But funny enough, it's like, you know, you fast forward to now and it's like Nate tattoo circles around all of us. So it's pretty cool to see, you know, that kind of growth.
I guess if anything, you know, like, you know, you gotta like kind of honor that patience and never stop learning and never stop progressing. You know, drawing a lot and learning how to draw for specific tattoos is very important. You know, okay, so the first drawing that you do for a tattoo isn't always going to be the best one. So the more time spent on a drawing and the more homework you do, the better the outcome is going to be, the better the tattoo is going to look. So I always do that as much as I can. Cheers.
Go down to the river, we'll go down. Go down to the river and wash yourself clean. Go down to the river, we'll go down. Go down to the river and wash yourself clean. Wash yourself clean. Wash yourself clean.